I call to order April's meeting of the Homewood Board of Zoning Adjustments. First up, we will have the call to order.
All right. All right, Mr. Gear.
Here.
Mr. Roberts. Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Perkle.
Here.
Mr. Alsabrook.
Here.
Ms. Childs. And Ms. Hand.
Here. Next, did we have a chance to review March's minutes? Yes? Okay. Can we approve it? All in motion? All in.
Should I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Is there a second?
Second.
Then
Great.
all in favor?
All in favor? I'm a
Yes.
little rusty.
That'll be fine. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any communication reports? I do not have any. Do you?
I do not.
Perfect. Do we have any old business? I take that as a no, and we'll move on to new business. First up, we'll have BZA case SV-23-04-01, 103 Morris Boulevard.
We've had some new developments on the property, and we would like to have.
But if you'll come to the microphone
Sorry.
and again, there's a sign-up sheet if you'd put your name and address there, and then you can address the board. Yeah.
My name is Jeremy Hackney. I'm one of the property owners for 103 Morris Boulevard. We've had a couple of developments with the property, and we would like to ask for a continuance to the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, if you want to, do you want to explain to the board the
Sure,
engineering
yeah,
study
yeah.
and what the issue is?
Yes,
for the board?
so through some investigation, we've learned the footing is not going to be sufficient to build a second story on top of the existing structure. So with the amount of foundation work required, it will be almost a complete tear down. So my understanding is this is what we have submitted is for a remodel or renovation versus a new construction. So just not having all the information with us right now, we would like to do some investigation, see what the best approach would be moving forward.
Great.
To that end, are you requesting the case be continued to allow you
Yes,
to do
please.
that? Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. Okay, so that is his request. Then,
All right.
Perfect.
yes,
Do we need to vote
the
on that?
board's in agreement with that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Then we'll continue at that next month's meeting. We'll be in touch then.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Goodman.
fine. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have BZA case SV-23-04-02, 1522 Roseland Drive.
Hello. We are requesting a 5-foot variance.
But
To the
I'm
right.
sorry, would you identify yourself?
Sorry?
Would you identify
Oh,
yourself?
Steve Camp, builder
Okay,
for
thank you.
standing
Thank
offer, sorry.
Right.
We're requesting a 5-foot variance on the right side of the property. The existing house is 6.5 feet at the current moment, and we're going to tear it down, and the new one will fit inside the footprint of the existing house. And the new house will probably, well, it will help the flood zone. FEMA has already okayed all of this, and we're just requesting the 5-foot variance on the right side of the house for it to be torn down and rebuilt.
Great, thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who would like to speak on this, now is your time. Oh, it looks like we have someone here. Please sign in. Thank you.
I emailed a video to the committee yesterday. Are y'all in receipt of those videos?
Mhm.
Okay. I'd like to bring to the committee's attention some changes that have happened over the last couple of years.
I'm sorry again, would you
sorry.
identify yourself, please?
I'm sorry?
Would you identify, tell us your
Joe-
name?
My name is Joe Stevens. I reside at 1513 Valley Place, parcel number 59.
Thanks.
A couple years back, parcel numbers 42 was built upon, and I'm not really sure how they did it without a variance, but they did. And subsequently, they built a fence, and they are adjacent to the creek. The creek goes by their house, turns, comes to our house, and then turns and goes by the property in question in this hearing. Since that time, we've been at that residence since 2012. Our backyard has never flooded. Since the building of that house on the end, on parcel 42, our lot has flooded 3 times, pretty substantially. And you can see from the video that I sent in that it gets pretty deep. It's, probably 1.5 feet in our backyard. Because essentially what's happening is that where it makes the turn to go to that property behind our property is actually the lowest point in the wall, and that's the relief point for the creek. And so it's coming over behind our respective properties into an abandoned alley, and then the water is flowing into both properties. I know that 1.5 feet doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm not really seeing what the hardship is that we're requesting here. And every inch matters now in Homewood, especially with flooding. And I think that my wife and I, just want to be on the record that we're opposed to the variance. And even though it may seem trivial, 1.5 feet, I mean, it's 1.5 feet here, 1.5 feet there, and suddenly, my backyard is underwater frequently. Also, another thing to note too is on this map, and I don't know if the committee's aware of this, but behind, as it approaches our property, you have it marked as an alley. There is not an alley there. That is entirely creek, walled on both sides. If you're looking at parcel 59, behind it to the right, where you have it marked alley, there's no alley there. Behind parcel 59, there is an abandoned alley that is gravelled, and it's essentially become a reservoir ditch when the flooding happens, and then it spills over into our yards. And I guess that's about all I have to say. If y'all have any questions about it, I've been a resident there for 10 years. I'm pretty familiar with the problems that we're having, and I don't think that this adds to it, especially since I don't really see anything in the paperwork that's addressing a hardship issue. My wife and I had plans drawn for a remodel on our house, and we adhered to all the setbacks, and I really don't see why this one would be any different. So, all right, thank you for your time and consideration.
1 second. If there's anyone else who would like to speak on this, this portion of the public hearing has closed, and you can now come back up and speak to that.
If you could bring up the plans for the new structure, you will see that the existing footprint of the house, that one right there, if you can just show, yeah, there you go. All right, we are using all of the new flood gates, and again, FEMA has already okayed this, and it should cut back on the flooding as opposed to the old foundation in the old house, because the old house has no gates for allowing for water to flow under the house. But with our new plans, there will be adequate flowing from underneath the house with the gates, and it should reduce the flooding in that area, according to FEMA. So, and I have an engineering letter that attests to that. Shoal Engineering, y'all should have a copy of that.
Great, we'll open this up to questions from the board.
Just for the record, this house is a complete tear down currently, and you're looking to build brand new?
Yes, with FEMA rules intact, and it's already been done with a structural engineer that works with FEMA.
Have you looked at adhering to the variances, or any constraints or reasons why you couldn't stay within the tolerances?
Well, the house right now, we can't add to the house, the current house right now, without altering the flood zone, the floodway. They won't okay it. So we have to tear it down, and, I mean, the foundation right now will not allow any additional footprint to be built on. So that's why we're wanting to do the new home, which will enhance the area as well, being a new home. And again, FEMA is okay, has already, the plans have been okayed by FEMA. And they should reduce the amount of flooding in the area because of the gates that we're using.
Did you, in your design, did you try or explore staying within that existing 6.5 setback? And is there a reason why you needed that extra 1.5 foot?
For a fireplace, I mean, if the fireplace is the issue, we can move the fireplace in. It's just simply for a fireplace, to be on the outside of the house, not flush with the house. And the house is within that's the survey, and right here is the deck, right there. And if you can go to the Shoal Engineering, let me find this. If you could go to the site plan, Roseland Drive residence, page 3. It's this right here, this picture right here. It's on the Roseland Drive residence. There you go. See how it's superimposed, the old residence and the new residence? The old residence is the orange, and the new would be the pink. So it's within the existing footprint.
And the fireplace is the only thing extending beyond the?
Well, where it's currently at, right now it's a 6.5. The existing house is 6.5. So the fireplace is the only thing that would be, to the right. That's why we're asking for the extra 1.5 feet.
Got it.
Let me ask, has there been any engineering in regards to the, I guess it's gonna be the creek bank walls there, that's concrete?
We're not even touching that. Nothing's being, all this is, can I bring this to you? This is the,
I do have that.
Oh,
letter. I
okay.
appreciate that.
There's pressures from your house foundation based on the height of the wall and the foundation of the creek. Has that been addressed?
yes, the engineering has addressed all of that, and,
On the show,
yeah, sure.
the bearing pressure?
Yes. I mean, they've okayed the whole,
That's not true,
oh, it's not?
no. So I think what Mr. Perkle and Mr. Johnson are referring to is the fact that you're proposing to be so close to the retaining wall.
Right.
And so those retaining walls collapse often because they're old and they're creek walls. And so I think the concern
Well, the
is.
foundation's actually gonna be within the footprint of the old house, where it's actually at right now. The fireplace is the only thing over there, but I'm just saying the existing house right now is 6.5 feet off of it right now.
Right, but you're building a new foundation.
Right.
correct? To add a second story, so the foundation's probably gonna have to be deeper
Okay.
than the existing one. And Shoal didn't submit any structural reports about the integrity of the creek wall.
All
Right,
right.
and the piers.
So can we table this until next month and let me get Shoal to do their due diligence on that wall? Would that be fine? Okay, is that the only concern, or what else is there?
My main concern is that you're going back with a brand new house. Within what we're trying to do in this variance request is, of course, hear your reasons for wanting to have that variance, but you're going back with a brand new home.
Right,
And in any other circumstances, you would stay within that variance as far as the proposed setbacks.
okay.
And so have you looked at considering reevaluating the home in itself to stay within the setbacks that are current?
We have tried to come up with several different floor plans and what have you, but because of the FEMA rules about the flood, it will alter and consider more, it will back up the creek more on everything we've tried to do with that house. The existing footprint and adding to the back of it.
I think the question is with the new house, it's completely new.
Uh-huh.
Keep the same gate, the flood, but stay within the city's setbacks. Just stay within the city setbacks. Have y'all-
Well, we'd have to redo the whole engineering because of we based it off of the old setbacks, I guess, the plans, which I think were, 8 feet or whatever at the time, but, the ditch, well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is let me get back with Shoal and see if we can, redo it and come back next month. That'd be fair?
I have a question
Sure.
about the permeable paving
Uh-huh.
areas that you're showing on the plan. You're already showing at 46.2% of impervious area.
Mhm.
What was your plan for these permeable areas? What material were you planning to use?
I don't have that information with me at the time.
Okay. That's
Oh,
something that
okay.
we're gonna need to look at
Okay.
also,
All right,
to make sure that you don't exceed
right,
that 50%, and that you also don't use gravel.
right, okay. All right. Any other questions?
Great, so you are requesting a continuance
Yes,
for next
please.
month? Perfect.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
thank
Great.
you.
Next, we have BZA case SV-23-04-03, 437 Hillwood Drive.
Good evening, William Siegel with Twin Construction. I live at 1707 Shades Park Drive in Homewood. The first request is at 437 Hillwood Drive. This is a property that we had previously gotten a front variance on. If you go by there now, you can see that the house is a good portion demoed. The owner is now requesting that we take the rest of the house down due to some concerns that he's got with foundations, and essentially do the exact same design, but do it as new construction. Because we're changing from renovation to new construction, we need a new variance request. The hardship is still the same in that the front setback, the properties are still lined up with a neighbor, but due to the street curving in because of the cul-de-sac, that's why we're requesting that we maintain that front. Because as you see down the street, everything will still line up, but due to the street curving in, it makes it a little bit, you can see the neighboring house there. And as you go across, essentially where that deck is located is where this where this front covered porch will be located, which is the same as what we had requested before. So the current setback, although it's shown at 42.5 feet, there's a deck in front of that now. We're looking to put the screen porch back where the current deck is. Okay?
Great, thanks. This is a public hearing, so anybody who would like to speak on this can. And it looks like there's no one, so we'll open this portion to questions from the board.
and I haven't been to the site, of course, but with this request, if you were to move since you're going back with a brand-new home,
Mhm.
moving it backwards into the lot, I understand there may be a slope or some
Yeah,
things
great
there.
question. Yeah, well, two things. There is a slope, and they all also have requested to put a pool in the back, which is currently dug out, so there's no room to push it back due to the hill. So for them to maintain the current house plan, either we restore as it currently sits, or we need the variance request to do all new. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Got it. But there's not an option to build this same house and push it back.
The side setbacks will be reduced.
There's no variance request for that. I mean, currently they meet side setback requirements and rear.
May I ask, has construction other than excavating for the pool been performed?
You know, I hadn't been over there in a couple weeks either. I don't know if they've shot any gunite yet or not, so I do not know the answer to that. They're supposed to have a week or two more.
I have photo, you have your packet, right?
I do.
Okay. I didn't know if you did or not. I had the photos if you needed to see them.
I did see excavated.
The current,
area
yeah.
in the back, so I'm just
No,
gonna-
they've been running trucks, so, yeah.
So there's still an option to go back.
And remove the pool, yeah. I think at that point, they would restore the current house and just leave the same footprint as it sits right now. I mean, so.
I have no further questions. No good? Let's, like to make a motion to vote on SV 230403, 437 Hillwood Drive.
Second.
All right. Ms. Childs? Mr. Alsabrook?
Yes.
Mr. Perkel?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
And Ms. Hand?
Yes. Your request for variance has been denied.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have, oh, thanks. BZA case SV-23-04-04-208 Windsor Drive.
Again, it's William Siegel with Twin Construction. This house is one that we're designing at 208 Windsor Drive. There's a current brick home that is on a corner lot. The lot currently has a open porch on the right side of the property. What we're proposing to do is go straight up on the house, leave the porch on the right side of the property. To do this, the current porch is over the setback line. It's still off the street, but it's over that setback line currently by 9.7 feet. So we're asking that remain one-story open structure as a side porch. And then the second variance application has to do with the left building setback that is currently 9.4 feet from the property line, and the setback regulation is 10 feet. So thereby, the request is 0.6 feet on the left side to go straight up on the left side. The right side is really just for the existing non-conforming single-story open porch to remain as is.
Great. We'll open this up to the public, if anybody would like to say anything on this. And there does not seem to be, so we'll open this up to the board for questions.
I'd like to make a motion to vote on SV 23040428 Windsor Drive, A, which is gonna be the variance for, is it the point 3 feet to reduce it 9.7 feet.
And B?
And B, a request for variance at 0.6 feet reduction. Is that correct? No.
Point
Okay.
six. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. All right. Ms. Childs?
Can I mention something real quick, or is it too late? It's probably too late.
Depends on what it is.
Well, if we're going to do an A and B vote, I'm wondering if we should proffer to change the B vote to the current 8.1 feet and the entire right side porch be removed from the request. So that we take the current structure of the house and go up, but the right side request, if there's concern about the right side covered porch, I'd rather proffer to change that request to an 8.1 foot, which would take the existing structure of the house proper and go straight up on that.
Okay, so you are requesting a separation. I understood the motion was both A and B. Was I wrong?
A and B per request. I guess I'm proffering
Yeah.
to change the B request.
Right.
William, are you doing anything to the porch?
The porch is staying as is. I mean,
You're not
but I
adding-
didn't know if that's
No, no.
why y'all were
William.
gonna ask that is, we'll let it roll. I got
Are
them.
you putting a second story on the porch?
No. No, the porch is staying as it is.
So you're not expanding the footprint, you're not
It's all staying the way it
altering
is.
the porch?
The screen porch is gonna become a open porch, so that is the
But
alteration.
you're not altering the
The
structure?
roof line, no.
Okay, so,
Okay, so then technically, he does not need that right side variance, because
Yeah.
he's not doing anything to it. It is existing non-conforming. He only needs A.
Can we verify that roof line does not change before I say that? No, it's drawn as a hip roof. It is a hip roof now, so I think the only thing we're doing is taking the screen out.
yeah, maybe I'll be
quiet.
let us just keep on going.
Y'all just go for it.
So, we had a motion from Mr. Perkel, and we had a second from Mr. Alsabro.
Right. Okay. We're good. All right. Now,
And this is on both A and B, as is.
I'm sorry, say that again.
This is on both A and B, as is.
Okay. All right. Ms. Childs?
Yes?
Mr. Alsabrook?
Yes.
Mr. Perkel?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Hand?
Yes, you have 180 days to submit your
Thank you, guys.
portion.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Next, we have BZA case SV-23-04-05, 312 East Glenwood Drive.
Good evening. My name is Justin Jones. Sign in. I'm here today on behalf of David Belcher. David is the owner of this property. We are managing a renovation project and have a couple of variances that we needed to discuss with you. The first of which, basically, as the property currently sits, we are looking to go back about 24 feet to add additional square footage. We are perfectly fine within the setbacks to the rear. To the side, however, as you can see here, we have a 9.5 is the current structure for the building there. We are looking just to take that wall directly back, so we need about 6 or so inches to just continue that as it is. We are also looking, the second request has to do with what you can see to the left. It's a sunroom that's there, and it is non-conforming as well. We are looking to simply put a second story on top of that. What's interesting about our home is the two houses right beside our home, both have the exact same floor plan, have the exact same situation, and both of those have made a second story on that particular area as well. So we are hopeful that that's something you would allow for us to.
Mr. Jones, are you the property owner, or you're just managing the renovation? I'm sorry.
I'm managing the renovation for Mr. Belcher.
That's
Mr. Carboni is our contractor.
Okay, that's fine, just clarification. That's
Great, this is a public hearing, and now we are opening it up to the public section of this. If there's anybody who would like to speak on this case, here's your chance. And it looks like there's no one, so we will open this up to the board for questions.
Staff, I didn't see if there has been submitted a water management plan with this. Has that been with the plans?
No, but that's typically not required at this stage. There was a preliminary submittal from EDG, the engineer, from Tara, who I spoke to this afternoon. I think you guys also received an email that we forwarded with concerns of stormwater from the neighbor behind, from the adjacent property behind.
And I appreciate that. That was the reason I was bringing that to our attention here, because of the rainwater and stormwater that happens at the rear. Just seeing if y'all have taken that into consideration with adding on a second structure, runoff, detaining the water, so to speak, coming from your gutters.
We definitely take it into consideration. It's something that we're looking to mitigate, and we've actually spoken with Mr. Prince at length about that. Had some time with him earlier today, even about it. So, for us, it's important that the backyard is going to be something that's it's in our best interest to make that attractive and not problematic. And I think we would hope the same for he'll benefit from it as well.
Okay.
So will some type of retention be submitted during the construction, or, considering?
I think the question will be, should we be able to move forward in light of the variances? We'll then apply for a building permit and just begin those conversations on what that would look like. But I think that will be part of the next phase.
Right, so I think it might have been a question for me. Will detention be required for the site as it currently is proposed? And the answer is there, unless EDG says that detention is required, since they're not increasing impervious area by 10%. It's not required by the city. The engineer might require it so she can get comfortable with signing the non-adverse effects letter. But I think the board could certainly ask Mr. Jones to proffer some sort of detention facility, if that's what you choose to do. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay.
And EDG does design a lot of those around town, so they're familiar with the process and what needs to happen.
Is that something you'd like to proffer?
Sure. Yeah.
Mr. Jones, you said you spoke with Mr. Prince
We've had
today?
some conversation, yes.
Okay. Alleviated his concerns to the best
Yeah,
of your
I think
knowledge?
we're already cutting out a tree that he viewed as problematic as well, which it is problematic. So
Okay.
we're attempting to be good neighbors here, and again, it's in his best interest as it is in ours. So.
I can make a motion here for us to vote on SV 230405 312 East Glenwood Drive.
Subject to the proffer that was.
Subject to the proffer of
Okay.
retaining engineering for detention plan.
Second.
All right. Ms. Childs,
Yes.
Mr. Alsabrook,
Yes.
Mr. Perkel,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes. You have 180 days to submit your permit, and this does not necessarily mean that you will get your permit.
Right.
But your variance has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. Last but not least, we have BZA case SV-23-04-06, 606 Shades Creek Parkway.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rhea Neal. I'm an architect with Christopher Architects and Interiors, here to represent Kirsten and Elvis Kennedy for the new construction of their home at 606 Shades Creek Parkway. We are requesting a variance for the front setback to now become 56.8 in order to build their new home. We've been building in Homewood for the past 15 years, and Kirsten and Elvis have been residents at Homewood for a very long time, and we both have a respect for the way that you guys manage the community of Homewood. In this new home, we want to be a legacy piece for their family, but also enhance the community of Homewood. We have a respect, like I say. The reason for our request is because we feel that there's a hardship in our vehicular access on the site. The majority of homes along Shades Creek Parkway all have garage and vehicular access from the rear side of the property, and many of them have access points from side streets, not directly off of Shades Creek like we do. So what that means for us is that we have to put our garage at the back but still get to it, which means we have to pull the house forward. Obviously, we don't want to put a garage on the front of the house, especially on a street as prominent as Shades Creek. So we have put together a design that we hope marries those needs, but we do need the variance in order to do so.
Wonderful. This is a public hearing, so now we are opening this to any comments from the public. And since there are none, we are opening this up to the board. Any questions from the board?
One question, you may or may not know this. Are there any plans in the foreseeable future for the development of the lot adjacent on the western side?
No, sir, not so long as Elvis and Kirsten own the property. They own both the lots. They're just holding on to it if they ever decide to sell, and in which case they might develop that lot. But so long as they live on the property, they have no plans to develop it at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion for SV 230406 606 Shades Creek Parkway. Motion to vote?
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Is it still subdivided as two lots? Is it still subdivided as two lots?
That is correct.
Okay, so they're not replatting it as one lot then?
No.
Okay.
You might be a little confused because we did get an easement to have a shared drive for a future house if it were to be built. So that's probably what you're seeing. It is on like the lot line, but that's been approved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll remake that motion there to vote on SV 230406 606 Shades Creek Parkway.
Second.
All right. I'll be different. Mr. Johnson, I'll let you go first.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Perkel,
Yes.
Mr. Alsabrook,
Yes.
Ms. Childs?
Yes.
Say it again, please.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And lastly, Ms. Hand?
Yes, your request for variance has been approved, and you have 180 days to pull your permit, and this does not necessarily mean that you will receive your permit.
You'll
Thank
have it
you.
on Monday. Thank you.
Now, do we have communications from the staff? No? Oh, thanks. And now I will end today's BZA meeting.
So